Okay, we just started the recording. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. We have a very special guest tonight. We have Dr. Gary Daniel. Gary, I've known for years. He's been in the business for about 40 years, helping people, individuals, small groups, large groups, movie stars, people that want to change their life. He's worked with baseball teams, top golfers. And what he does is he helps us to understand how our language affects others and also how we can utilize what we're thinking with what we're saying and how to be more trusting and trustful. And I think he's going to bring a lot to us today. I would suggest getting a piece of paper out and writing some things down. At the very end, I'm going to put in the shared chat 2 documents, and I would suggest that you click on them and download them. Those of you that are watching this afterwards on the YouTube channel, just take a picture and I'll leave them up long enough so you can see them. So not to waste any time, I'm going to switch it over to Gary and let you run with it. And if you haven't already, just put your audio on mute. So
and make sure mine's not, I guess, huh?
Is mine on mute?
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to be here this evening. And what I'm gonna move really fast. That is my style. I have people drinking out of a fire hose. What I'm gonna share with you tonight, I feel is critical to the success of anybody that's in the people relations business. And you notice I call it people relations business and not the sales business, because the sales business is something of the past. What people do now is relate, and they motivate and inspire. And the thing we're going to talk about tonight mostly is the presuppositions that you create when you speak with someone. And presuppositions are created through the moment you talk to someone on the phone. Many times it has nothing to do with the way you look or even the way you move, because it's all in your voice, the inflections of your voice. When you're in person with someone, the way you move, the way you approach them, the way you dress, the way you speak, the way you smile is all being observed by their subconscious mind, and it's making judgments and decisions on whether to trust and believe you. The words you use are going to be either poison or virus to what you're doing, or they're going to motivate people to be inspired to talk to you longer, listen to what you have to say. So I'm a specialist in a thing called neurolinguistic programming. Some people have heard of it, some people haven't. It was born way back in the early 70s by Richard Bandler and John Grinder. And they discovered an algorithm in the way we speak that causes decoding in the brain for people to behave in a certain way. When you get really good at neurolinguistic programming and understand it thoroughly and completely, what can happen is you can inspire someone to do something they didn't even know they wanted to do without even them thinking about it. So Lisa's going to put up on the screen a set of rules that we communicate by in neurolinguistic programming, and they're actually fundamental rules that everybody must communicate with. And these rules are what we call the presuppositions of NLP, but basically the presuppositions of living your life. And she's going to put these in the chat, I think, as well, so you can download them. But it's really the invisible language between the words. When we speak, there's always an invisible language that's in there. Like if I tell you, like if I owed you $100 and all of a sudden I tell you I'm going to try to pay you on Friday, what do you really hear? Most likely you're going to hear, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to get that or not, or he's probably not going to pay me. And even if I'm the one that spoke it, it's not going to put the inference in me to even want to pay it. So it probably is not going to get done. So the word try is something we call a virus word. And when I was working on my PhD, I was desperate to find something to write on because I didn't know what the hell to do. And all of a sudden I thought, oh, I'm going to work on words and what words mean. And I came across and found 7 words in our language that I would call the virus words. I wrote papers on it, white papers on it. And I was in the world of psychology, it was in the who's who, because this was like magic in our language that people didn't even realize this was speak. So those virus words, and Lisa's going to put one of my cards up on the screen here or send it to you that's got these virus words on it. And what these virus words are is why, try, need, but, should, don't, and hope. And I would strongly recommend each one of you get rid of those words out of your vocabulary completely. They're worthless, they're not to be used. And every time you use one of those words, the presupposition, the language between the language that people hear is you're going to fail, or you're not going to be trusted, or you can't do something that you want to do. And on the other side of that little card, you see some pink words. Those are antidote words. You can use those instead of those words. And it's not perfection, but it works better. Rather than ask why you did something, ask what was your strategy when you did that? What was your strategy when you picked that policy? Rather than why did you pick that policy? You can hear the difference when you even say that. It puts somebody on the defensive. So the word why, if you ask it to your children, to your husband, to your wife, anytime you ask that word why, it immediately puts somebody on the defensive and it presupposes you're angry at them. You're angry at them, they did something wrong, and it's going to ruin your rapport. And in this business, one of the magical things Lisa's learned how to do is she is instantly in rapport with everybody she works with. How does she do that? Is it her personality? Is it her smile? Is it her blonde hair? What she wears? No, it's the way she approaches them with the words she uses. And these words eliminate these virus words. And she uses words that presuppose they're not going to have to buy anything. They're not even there to buy anything, or she's not there to sell anything. She's there to serve them and to give them choices. So study those words, work on them. I'm not going to do a lot with that right now because I haven't got the time, because I want to work with presuppositions so you understand what those really are. Because we all speak in them and you've heard them and you've heard people say things with these, but you didn't really know the reason it was happening. But the first communication is understand all communication is redundant. That means we're always communicating. Anytime you stand in front of someone, you talk to someone, you're communicating with them, whether you think you are or not. If you're speaking, if you're not speaking, your posture, your stance, posture is huge. And when you stand in front of someone, that you're straight, your shoulders are back, you're standing tall, looking proud of who you are, but also that ejects confidence. People hear the confidence in you, and that's what they're looking for if you're going to sell them Medicare. This Medicare business is a mess. We all know it. And what your job is to do is make it easy and make it understandable for people. And the way you do that is to, first of all, be trustworthy. So one of the first things that you want to pay attention to is understanding anytime you're in front of someone, the big presupposition is if you have an appointment with them, they want what you've got. And you're either going to go through the process of giving them a choice so they can accept it, or you're going to turn them off and they're going to want you to get the hell out of the house. Two things right there, right off the bat. And it's right in the way you ask them and in the way you approach yourself. So all the words you use presuppose something, and the way you say them presupposes something. So communication is redundant. Also, the meaning of your communication is really the response you get from it. You can say, well, Mrs. Jones, which one of these policies would you think would be best for you? And she could say, well, I don't think either one of them are a damn good bit of good. That's the meaning of what you just did. All the work you just did, that was the meaning of that communication. What is your job now is to get that clarified so she understands she has a choice. Because choice is always better than no choice. People respond to their map of reality. What does that mean? We all were brought up by different parents. Everybody's brought up by somebody different. This girl over here on the screen, she's got horses in the background. Why does she have horses in the background? That means something to her. So when we speak to her, we want to really realize that. We want to don't want to come at her with citified communications and things that she wouldn't relate to. So her map of reality is what you have to work with when you talk to someone. So you have to listen to what they say, because through the words they say, they're going to give you a clue and a hint on what their hotspots are and what they have to know in order to be motivated to make a good choice. And it's not you're selling them on an idea, it's you inspiring them to be open enough to communicate with you and tell you everything that you have to know. It's one of the things I've noticed Lisa does. I hear her on the phone when she talks. She listens, and she formulates her entire dialogue around what that person said. As crazy as they are, or as grounded as they are, as steady as they are, she's ready for it because she's hearing what they're saying and reflecting their words back to them. If I use the words that you use, you're going to automatically subconsciously accept me to be more like you. But if I use words that are completely different than you use, you're going to see me as different and separate, and it's going to create a wall between us, and you're not going to hear what I have to say. So the presuppositions that you put out through your words have to mirror and have to be responsive to the people you're listening to and talking to. People respond to their map of the reality, not reality itself. People say, well, reality doesn't exist. It actually really doesn't, because each one of us have a different reality of what all these words mean. If I say the word flower to you, I bet if each one of you, I ask you what the word flower means, you're all going to say something different. That's coming from your map of reality. When I say flower, I think of a rose, but Lisa may think of something else. Well, is she wrong? No. She's operating by her map of reality, her map of the world. So I have to use words and language that parallels that. The next thing is a thing called requisite variety. And what requisite variety is really understanding if the person in a communication, if you, when you're talking to someone working with Medicare, the more flexible you are, that means you're going to be the controlling entity in that conversation. But when you become inflexible and start arguing and debating, one thing is better than another thing, and they're not agreeing with you, and you break your flexibility, you're going to lose that conversation and they're not going to trust you. And you're probably going to have to leave without a sale or at least a completion of that process. So understand, always be flexible. If they disagree with you, that's just feedback. It's just feedback for you to give them more information. Keeping in mind, every time they make an appointment with you, they want what you've got. They want to hear what you have to say. And the reason you may leave unsuccessful is you unraveled that ability for them to trust you being able to deliver it to them. And it's all through the way you present yourself. It's like on this, as I'm looking at the screen right now, I see most of you have your camera on, but there's 3 people that don't. Okay, so if I was going to buy something on Medicare right now or talk to you or want to trust one of you, I would definitely be one of the people that have their camera on and not off. It's very important when you're on these meetings that you turn your camera on. I see once in a while I slip on and see these meetings where people just are hiding behind their camera because they're probably not listening or doing something else. That is not a good presence. Learn to put that camera on and work on your own posture when you're on here in these meetings and look professional. And if you look at the screen right now, if you can put up the group look at everybody, tell me who looks the most professional and who doesn't. What's the background look like? How destructive is it? How distractive is it? You want them paying attention to you, not something else. And also, when you talk to people, understand, as insane as they may sound and as crazy as they may feel like they are to you because of your map of the world, they're actually operating perfectly. People are pretty perfect all the way they are, all the weird ways they are. It's us that have to mold ourselves into getting in rapport with them based on their behaviors, their map of the world, without arguing and without them feeling like we are better than them, we know more than them. They just have to trust us. And they trust us through the words we use. People always understand, no matter what you're doing when you're talking to people, they are making the best decisions they possibly can. I bet not one time in the morning any of you have ever woke up and said, I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to make some really crappy decisions and have a crappy day. You always get up in the morning saying, I want it to be a good day and I want to be successful, right? Well, so do all these people you're talking to. And when you have an appointment with them and they know you're going to come over to their house or you're going to meet them in an office, they're looking forward to that because they feel it's going to be a resolution to a problem they've got. You are super women and men to these people. Act like it and have confidence. And the last thing you ever want to do is say, well, do you want to do this today? No, you never ask that question. Which one of these plans would be the best one for you today? Which one do you like the best? That's the way you ask the question. I have never once heard Lisa say, well, do you want to buy this? I've never heard her say, in fact, that's so out of character of her. She always says, well, which one of these would sound the best for you or do you think would be the best for you? And then she shuts up and they say, well, I don't know. I think this one sounds better. She says, well, would you like to do that right now? And they always say yes. Her close rate is phenomenal because she doesn't argue. She doesn't give them her opinion. She gives them information. And what's the difference between information and an opinion? Your attitude of wanting to help them or to pile something on them and get the hell out the door so you can get to the next appointment. I've watched Lisa take a lot of time with people, and then they always call back and they always have a referral because she took the time. And I'm not here to say Lisa's the best there is in the world, because she's got a lot of growth to do too. But her system works really well, and she's following the NLP principles and guidelines of using presuppositions, presupposing they're going to buy. They're going to do this. Why? Because they called and wanted the information. Why wouldn't they? The only reason they wouldn't is because you talk them out of it. By too many choices, by confusion, by making it more complicated than it needs to be. So people always make the best choice available at the time if they have the right information. Your job is to give them the right information. How do you do that? Know your product. But don't over sell it and don't over inform it, because you can create confusion. Just what do they have to know to make that decision today? Always remember, choice is better than no choice. So at the end of the line, every time you're talking to them, you want to make sure you give them choices. You don't want to tail it down just to this one deal, as this is the only one there is here for you today, Mr. Jones. No, because now they're going to feel cornered. That presupposes they're in trouble. There's a problem. You want them to presuppose, wow, there's a lot of air here. I can think about this. I can do this. I have a choice. Choice is always better than no choice, even though you're the one coming up with the choices. But make it look like it's their choice. Let it be their choice. Give them good options. One of the big things we have to really understand in the business you guys are in, and I've worked with literally over the last 40 years, thousands of salespeople, is that most salespeople don't understand that everything that happens in this operation of meeting with someone is useful. It's all called feedback. And whether they're drinking while you're talking to them, or they're looking over here, or they feel distracted, that's all feedback for you. And that feedback is totally useful because you can use that in order to expedite the process by just allowing it and working with it. And also, when somebody moves, it's like I've moved my hand up my glasses. If you have glasses, if you do the same thing, their subconscious mind's automatically going to track with you, and they're going to think you're just like them. And anytime people think somebody is just like them, they're going to be automatically in rapport with them and trust them. If you're holding a pencil and they're tapping a pencil on the desk, like kind of nervously, and you have a pen, if you just kind of move your hand the same way and tap it once in a while, their subconscious mind will track with that, and they'll immediately think you're a lot like them. And it's going to get rid of a lot of roadblocks in the way their emotions feel towards this process. They're nervous enough about, are they doing Medicare right? Are they going to get the benefits they want? They're nervous. They're not sure. They're insecure. They don't know anything about it. They're trusting you to give them the right information. So the more you can be trustworthy up front by your behaviors and the words you use, by eliminating those virus words and using words that are positive in nature, that are possibility oriented rather than devastation oriented, they're going to feel better about it. Also understand, one of the presuppositions here, when it comes down to you as people that are in the marketing business of Medicare, anybody can do anything. Like a lot of people say, well, I want to be like so-and-so. I want to be like Greg. I want to have a book of business like Greg does, or Lisa does, or, somebody else on the team. Well, you all can do that. And how come you don't and they do? Attitude. Attitude, the way you look at it. You're looking at it like you're comparing yourself to other people. Compare yourself to yourself and understand you're going to work at your own pace. When you presuppose that you're lacking something in yourself and that you can't do something that Lisa does or Greg does, then you've lost the battle. Because you're all different. You all have gifts. We all have virtues, and we all have these wonderful things called problems, virtues, and frailties. Your job is to manage your frailties and build upon your virtues. And we're all good about with something different. Not all of us are good at Canva, let's say, or not all of us is good at just kind of finalizing the sale and writing it up. But we're all good at something within this realm of making this work. Build on what your gift is and find support for the frailties, or manage them quietly. Because we all have them. God, I have a million of them. I just don't advertise them. and everybody does. So we're not perfect. We're not looking for perfection because there is no perfection. There's just improvement, working on getting yourself better. So always understand every behavior is useful in some context, even if they're not going along with you at that moment. Always ask yourself, if they're not going along with me, what behavior do I have right now that's causing that to happen? Not what the hell's wrong with this person? They must be crazy they didn't do this. They must be an idiot. No, you didn't explain it properly. They didn't get it. They didn't understand it because you didn't meet them at their model of the world, their language pattern, their pace. You know, we're moving 100 miles an hour and they're just kind of like a snail. Well, you're going to have a hard time relating to them. So slow down. And if they're running 100 miles an hour and you're like a snail, speed up. Get on that same pace with these folks, and they're going to track with you a lot better. And always remember, the choice is the big thing. Choice is better than no choice. They're looking for choices. They're looking for options. Your job is to explain it to them, find the two best options for them or the three best options, explain it so it's very simple for them to understand. Plan A, plan B, plan which one of these you feel would be the best for you. And use that word feel. No, which one do you think would be better? Or don't keep from asking a question like, well, do you want to do one of these? I mean, that just opens up a can of worms for objections. Well, I'm not sure. That's the first thing's come out. I'm not sure. Because there's always something they don't know still. But if you make it simple and easy, and then you can offer the consulting on these plans. Well, I don't know. Tell me about that one again. So, well, the reason that would be a good one for you, but this one over here has this. Which of those two things seems to be the best thing for you? And just bring it right back to that. Make it real simple. Always understand also, as you're out there competing with other salespeople, other people in the market, other Medicare companies, insurance
Don't you want to do
companies,
this? Wanna go
everybody's
poo-poo?
trying to. We got some yapping in there at us there. Somebody went off mute for a moment. I'm not going to answer any questions, by the way, because we're moving too fast. We'll get to that later. Always remember that we have to understand we are capable of doing all of this really, really well. All of us can do this really, really well. And it's not a matter of how smart you are, it's a matter of your attitude and the way you use your words. I want all of you to record yourself just on your next, if you can, record your Zoom call and listen to it. Record, take a pocket recorder and just record your sales meeting or how you're speaking and pitching someone else, and listen to your words and listen to the way you're doing it. You'll learn more from that than anything you can do. One of the other presuppositions, where there's 12 of them, I'm almost done here. People already have all the resources they require to make the decision. They just don't have the information. They can make the decision right now if they have the right information. And with Medicare, they've got to. I mean, what a beautiful thing. They've got to do it. So all you have to do is just give them good choices and then just ask them which one would be best for you. There is no such thing as failure. So do we fail at that last conference that we did, or we fail at that last meeting we had? No. If you didn't get it, what happened? Feedback. What can you learn from it? What can you take back to them that's going to improve it? That's all. Nobody fails. You only fail when you decide you fail. When you think, I screwed that up, I'm done, I'm a failure, then you're a failure. But if you never quit, if you stay with it and understand each one of those is an educational opportunity to just get better at this, and there is no perfection. Greg's been doing this for years. I've been doing what I'm doing for years. Am I the best there is at it? No. I got a long way to go because there is no best. I mean, I suck compared to what I could be still. And that's everybody. But everybody, when they think they know all they have to know, where they got to be, I'm really good at this now. You're really going to lose out because every call you make, every person you talk to is something new you can learn. And if you don't come out of those meetings saying, wow, what pearl did I get out of that day? Not, oh, how did I screw that up? No, what pearl can I get from that I can learn from to make it better next time? Every time. Presuppose this is a learning experience and it's all good. It's not a problem if they don't buy from you. The only problem is if you don't learn from it. And the last thing is, most people, especially when we are looking at Medicare, what's the biggest problem they have? What they call chunked up. They're looking at all of these plans and all of these companies and all these people calling them on the phone. And oh my God, I'm totally overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. And when you come through the door, they're about half pissed off at anything that's got Medicare tied to it because they're confused, pissed off, and you're the last thing they want to do. So what your job is to do is to chunk them down. And what that means is you bring them from this big mess to, well, Mrs. Jones, what specifically is it that's bothering you right now? What specifically is it that you're really confused about? And see if you can get that thing down to one or two little problems. And you be the person that can solve those problems, and you will walk out the door with a new customer. But if you remain up here trying to solve all this anger, all these phone calls, all these things people have told them, you're going to lose. You're not going to get it because they're going to be in the same state that you found them in. Your job is to bring it down. What specifically is it that's bothering you today? What specifically is it when you call me on the phone you wanted to know? And start there. And if you start there, what's going to happen? You're bringing it way down here. And now that big giant problem, oh, and you can diffuse all of that worry and fear very easily. But being calm, in rapport, talking like they do, using their kind of words. If they're farm people and country people like we got up here in Idaho, that's how you talk to them. If they're San Francisco smart asses, you talk to them that way. Whatever it takes. If they're from Petaluma, that's a whole different dialogue. But you just get in rapport with them and love them. Hit them with love. Walk through that door with an attitude. I love this person because they require my help and I'm going to help them. Period. So I'm
Thank
going to end here. Maybe we'll have the opportunity to talk again. I know that's a lot, and I'm not sure what everybody got out of it today. But Lisa's going to give you a list of these presuppositions and send them to you, plus the virus words. I strongly recommend you read through the presuppositions and get those to relate to you and your life and eliminate those virus words. Just do it. And it's hard. It's one of the hardest things you're ever going to do. I invented it. I'm the guy that wrote the book on that and wrote all the papers. And every now and then, Lisa walks up to me and said, I can't believe you just said that word need. And it's embarrassing as hell for me. But we use them. And when you use the word need, it presupposes you have no power. It's all outside of you. Something miraculous has to happen. I need to lose weight. I need to make more money. I need to make a sale. No, choose to make a sale. I'm going to choose to do that today. I'm going to choose to do what's necessary for me to get closer to that. So make a choice, not need. All right, Lisa, I'll shut
Thank
up.
you. Really appreciate it. Hey, we're going to have one more week next week, and it's going to be about questions. So any questions you have, bring to the table. Maybe Gary, hopefully you trust that you will be on with us next week as well. And these will go live on Lisa Maas Medicare on YouTube. I decided to put them on that channel instead, and I'm trusting I'll have them up and ready for you tomorrow. Also in the chat before we leave, I'm going to X out in just a minute. Make sure that you click on those and download them because that's how you get them in the chat. Okay, thanks everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.